Hello. Today I'm reviewing the Word Bearers Omnibus by Anthony Reynolds. I think I decided to do a separate video for describing what the Warhammer universe are about, because I think it would get really boring and repetitive to say in every video. But yeah, one criticism I will often state is that books like this probably require a slight background knowledge. I mean, they might talk about the Adeptus Mechanicus. I mean, you can probably work out it's something to do with mechanics, but they don't really give. Sometimes they'll just sort of throw the Warhammer terminology out and expect you to know it. I think that happens a lot. I'd actually like to see if anyone's not got a knowledge of Warhammer, but they tried a Warhammer book to see what they feel, because I could be completely wrong. But yeah, I feel someone who doesn't understand the universe and know the terminology would struggle in reading a book such as the Word Bearers Omnibus. And yeah, I guess partly this is because the background is huge, but that is also very good because it makes the books interesting and diverse. You've got Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines who have their different idiosyncrasies, but yeah, they're all superhuman warriors, I guess. So it could get repetitive, but I find them interesting. The problem of doing them, I guess, is you're not writing from a human perspective, because one of the authors, Dan Abnett, I always remember him saying how it's much easier to write from a human perspective, which makes sense. Even aliens, I suppose, they speak a bit differently and stuff. Whereas people, it's easy to empathise with a human, isn't it, I suppose. But the word bearers, on the other hand, are evil and superhuman and demonic summoners, so they're pretty nasty, I guess. I think the problem with that to begin with is what I was saying about empathy. It's quite hard to empathise with them when they're just, doing these horrible acts, like torturing people and stuff. But the action in this book is superb, or books I should say, as it contains Dark Apostle, Dark Disciple, Dark Creed, and the short story Torment. Sounds happy. Yeah, but the action is superb. Like the Marines, they're smashing Imperial Guard like toys, kind of thing, which is how it should be. If you if you're into this stuff, you want to see that, you want to read about it. And yeah, the action is nicely paced. I think you sort of got moderately slow bits of the battle, but then it really fires up suddenly, and yeah, it keeps you on your toes. And there's nice variation of who they fight, which is always important if the book, I wouldn't say it relies on its action, but it's definitely one of the strong points. I feel the action, I think I said this in a different video I just recorded, but the action is kind of an average meter for me. I usually, if the action is decent, then it can get a sort of average score, but characterization is where a lot of the books fall down in, when it's sort of action oriented, like in Warhammer 40,000 at least. I guess it is in fantasy as well. So it's quite hard to write and do characterization that I've just spoken about from the perspective of the word bearers. They're quite close to chaos because you could argue they start off the Horus Heresy because Erebus is the chaplain and he sort of gets influenced. He starts weaving his malign influence into the Primarchs like Horus. So let's talk about the characters. I guess the main character is Marduk, which is also a black metal band. But Marduk he's kind of evil, but he's kind of just power hungry. And to be honest, I'm not sure that's the most exciting sort of setup. He doesn't really have that many dimensions to him. I mean, he's kind of smart and sly. But Cole Badar, probably Cole Badar. I'll just call him Cole because that'll be easier. He's the Terminator, I guess, captain of the first company, I think. Yeah, they're sort of struggling with each other because they don't really like each other. They have a little cat fight at one point, which was quite, I don't know, I found it funny, but that's probably just me. Yeah, Cole is he's more a servant of the chapter. He's kind of true to the old ways. So there's a nice little contrast there, but it's nothing that outstanding. It's not that significant. But I think, without giving away any spoilers, there were definitely some twists that were unexpected. And they were really good. I like the twists. I can't really go into detail on them without giving more away. It's just that they were sort of very surprising. I didn't expect it, and that's when a twist is good. I'd sort of argue the book's predominantly action-based. I did like the imagery. For example, there's these strangely named towers. I think it seems like German to me. They're called like Gehemehnet towers. I might write it on the screen to spell it out. But yeah, they're towers built out of dead people and blood and guts, and So they stuck in my mind as being pretty horrible. The atmosphere is kind of, I guess it's Warhammer 40,000, it tends to be grim, but they're given decent descriptions. They're not, again, nothing outstanding. They aren't dwelt on too much because the action is more important, which is fair enough. So, yeah, the imagery is decent, the action is really good, characterization's okay, twists were really good. So you got this omnibus format, which I think is worth getting because, I mean, it's like 800 pages, something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you get the short story Torment if you can find the other 3 books for like a lot cheaper, like £2 or something each. It's probably better to get them because Torment was fine, but it's a short story. It's probably not worth spending more just to get that. Readability, I think he displays quite a wide vocabulary, perhaps more so than some of the other books, some of the other Warhammer books. But I didn't really think it was difficult to read or anything, so I don't want to overstate that. Yeah, so I think to wrap it up, it's quite a well-rounded book. It focuses on the action, but I think most Warhammer fans want that anyway. The characters aren't outstanding, but neither are they bad. They're probably a bit better than average and quite interesting, but they are just evil. One criticism actually was the human characters they seemed kind of thrown in, and it was a bit, I don't know, it didn't really mesh that well with the rest of the story, I felt. Even though I liked the inclusion, I think they didn't really have much bearing on what was going on. I think he could have done that a bit better. But yeah, overall, I think the Word Bearers Omnibus is worth picking up. I'll provide a link in the description box of probably somewhere more expensive than where you can really find it, but it'll show you what the book is, which is important. So thanks for listening, and I'll get on and do more reviews.